What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today it's the second episode of my Five Nights at Freddy's Retrospective series, where we go back and look at all 9 main FNaF games, and all their glory, and some of their mediocrity. And today we're focusing on Five Nights at Freddy's 2, which in my opinion is not the best game in the series, but it's not the worst. If you enjoy this video, please hit a like and subscribe. Anyway, let's get into the video. To be honest, FNaF 2's gameplay loop is one of the worst in the entire series. Wanna know why? 1. The cameras are basically useless aside from looking at the price counter, so then you barely see any of the rare interesting screens that there are. Number 2, the flashlight down the hallway, instead of holding it, you literally just flicker it, which in turn makes people, when they play future games, flicker it instead of holding it, so you barely see any cool screens or animations. And another thing that pisses me off about FNaF 2's gameplay loop is the mask. Now, FNaF 2's mask mechanic was pretty cool when the game first came out. Then after a while, it became very, very annoying. Like, for example, Withered Bonnie, the mask. Toy Bonnie, the mask. Withered Freddy, the mask. Do you see what I mean? All the animatronics, well, 90% of the animatronics use the mask. Aside from, say, Foxy, the puppet, and Balloon Boy. If he gets into your office, you're basically screwed. So basically, FNaF 2's gameplay loop sucks. On so many levels, it sucks. So moving on from the gameplay segment, let's talk about FNaF 2's ambience. So, if we were talking about FNaF 1, I would have a lot to say about the ambience. But well, the ambience in FNaF 2 is... well, just listen. I mean, like, come on, Scott, really? I mean, this game's not entirely terrible. There's a few things I like about it. I'll list those later, but to be honest, ambience is not one of them. The ambience in this game is not scary whatsoever, like, at all. To be honest, I think the games after this have better ambience than this one. Especially the one before it. Anyway, aside from ambience, let's move on to character design. Character design wise, I think this has some of the best designs in the entire franchise. For example, Withered Freddy and Withered Bonnie are absolutely menacing as hell. They're really tall, which when they're in your office makes them even more terrifying. But in my opinion, the toy animatronics aren't really that scary. And the T-posing chicken also isn't that scary. I mean, like, come on. Really, Scott? The T-posing chicken? Well, hey, at least it's better than god-awful Dabbing Chica. Might I add, Dabbing Chica is an actual thing in the FNaF Survivor logbook. I'm not even kidding. I'll put the page that it's on screen right now. Wait a minute. So if the survival logbook has lore implications, and it exists in universe, then does that mean that Dabbing Chica is a canonical character in the Five Nights at Freddy's storyline? Not gonna lie though, Balloon Boy's got the drip. Anyway, aside from that, the character designs in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 are surprisingly good, with some exceptions. But let's move on to the death minigames. So FNaF 2 added these little things we now know as death minigames, which, when you die in FNaF 2, you have a very small % chance of getting one of these death minigames. Now, in each of them, I'm pretty sure there's like 4 or 5 of them, they're all different. So one of them is the Foxy Go 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 minigame, where you play as Foxy and run from Pirate's Cove to a room with the purple guy standing there, smiling, because he isn't there on the last two, on the first 2 runs, I think, and then on the final one he's there, and then all the 5 kids in the room are dead. The next minigame is Save Them, where you play as Withered Freddy and you walk around the FNaF 2 location with a whole bunch of dead bodies, and there's like words being said, well, letters, and they spell, like, he basically says SAVETHEM. That obviously spells Save Them. And then Purple Guy shows up and goes, "You can't." And then that's the end of the death minigame. And then there's another one called Save Him, which was later retconned, but I'll talk about that in the game that it does get retconned in. Anyway, where you play as what looks to be Withered Freddy, I think, in a little small building, and there's a child outside, and there's like 6 children inside, and you give cake. Oh wait, actually no, it's not called Save Him, it's called Take Cake to the Children. Anyway, you give the cake to each of the 6 children to make them happy. And there's one child sitting outside. And then a purple car pulls up, Purple Guy hops out and kills the kid right there, followed by the puppet's jump scare. Now, the final one is called Give Gifts, Give Life, where you play as the puppet in a small room, similar to Take Cake to the children, but there are 4 bodies around you. And you put presents next to their bodies, then you go back around, and when you go near these presents, you put the animatronic heads on the bodies, showing that the animatronics are possessed by these children. And then, if you look really closely, a split second before the puppet jump scare, or a split second before the Golden Freddy jump scare, a 5th child appears right in the middle of the room, where the Golden Freddy jump scare emanates from. And yeah, those are the death minigames. I'm like running out of breath. Yeah. Let's, So in conclusion, FNaF 2 is... I mean, it's really... For some reason the game is like really hard. The mask mechanic sucks. The animatronic designs are... Some of them are pretty cool. But most of them aren't scary. And the one thing that ruins FNaF 2 for me. It sort of like forgets to be scary. I mean, the reason it forgets to be scary is because there's so much stuff going on, like Mangle, the puppet, the mask. So in conclusion, FNaF 2 is a convoluted mess. I give it like a 5 out of 10. Yeah, so next video, we're doing FNaF 3. One of my favorite games in the series. Anyway, see ya.